are another Pastors in Cars.
Getting coffee.
No.
No.
Oh, yes, we are getting
We
coffee.
are getting coffee, but we're not comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yes.
That would be a violation of copyright laws.
Pastors in Cars during COVID.
Ah, there we go.
There we go. And here with my pastor friend, Rob Dickerson. I'll let him introduce himself. Where are you from?
Hi, my name's Rob. I am the pastor at LifeQuest Community Church in Hilton. I live in Spencerport, and we are not 6 feet apart, but we both have our masks on. We're those people that you see in the car driving with a mask on. Hi.
Yes. Okay. Now.
Well, some of us have to be socially responsible. I'm keeping my mask on.
Are you serious? No.
No. Well, no. See, now when we take our masks off, then people are going to be like, oh, my pastor's an irresponsible dingus.
Your pastor. Not your pastor.
No.
I don't know where to start with this. We're just going to have fun. We're going to get some coffee, and yes, we are getting coffee. But originally it was supposed to be Pastors in Cars getting ice cream. Would you prefer that?
I love ice cream, but I don't need any more ice cream. So coffee is probably a better idea.
All right. Pastors in Cars getting coffee during COVID. Anyway, it's, what day is it?
Today is Wednesday.
Is it really?
It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday. Yeah, well, it's Wednesday because I have pants on. Normally I don't leave the house. And so it's Wednesday, May 6th.
It's, I can't keep track of the days. You have the same problem?
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit more artificial at my house because mostly it's daytime and nighttime. Because daytime, I know it's daytime because all my children are asleep. And nighttime is when they're downstairs banging around the house because they're up until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, it's nuts. So they sleep until 1. And then they're up until 3.
So, how many do you have? What are their genders and what are their ages?
So, oldest is a college student, 20 years old, turns 21 in a month. Then my son is a senior, and he is thriving in this whole thing. He is an introvert by nature, and so the fact that he doesn't have to deal with all the shenanigans of a high school senior year, he is loving life. I went downstairs.
Living large.
Yeah, living large from the couch. He moved out of our kids have always shared a bedroom, so the girls have a bedroom and the boys, so we have 4, 2 and 2. And my oldest, a couple years ago, moved out from his stinky middle school brother's room and claimed the couch in the basement as his domain. And so I was downstairs this morning, and it was dark. He hadn't opened up. No lights were on. No shades were drawn. And it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I said, are we up? Or what are we doing? And he goes, what do you mean? I've been up. I said, you've been up since when? I've been up since 12. I said, it's 12:30. I said, do you even have any clothes on? He goes, yeah. He goes, I have a nice shirt on. And he goes, he called it, this is distance casual. And I said, what's distance formal? He goes, well, that's if I'm on a Zoom call and I have to have a nice shirt on, but no pants. So there's distance casual and distance formal.
That's cool. I think I'll use it.
Yeah, right? It's good. It's comedy gold there, I think. Then I have a 10th grade daughter who is doing pretty well. She is my musician, and she's been doing some things where, like, she's got some audio recording software where, like, she can create, like, a 10-part harmony, but it's all her.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it's really cool, the stuff that she's been doing. And then my youngest, up until the last 2 weeks, has been driving us out of our minds. How
old is he?
He is 14.
Okay.
So they go 14, 16, 18, 20. And he figured out, once they announced that they weren't grading anything for school, that he had a 92 from the end of the third quarter, and that's the grade that they get for the school year. And so why do I have to do any work? And so that we have Infinite Campus for our school system that sends me notifications when their homework is turned in or missing or incomplete. And every day it was oldest child turned in. Second oldest child turned in. Youngest child missing, incomplete, missing. So I sent an email to all of his teachers basically begging for help, because he has figured out that he doesn't have to do anything for the rest of the year and you're still going to give him a 92. And his teachers replied back with unfortunate, your son is not wrong.
He's a smart kid.
He's a smart kid. But remind him that what we're doing now is trying to keep things fresh in his mind so that when he takes the exam, the Regents exam in August that he'll have to take for chemistry and for whatever, he will get totally annihilated if he's trusting in what he remembers from March before.
You got to keep that sharp.
Yeah. So that response from his science teacher, who also said, thank you for asking, Mr. Dickerson. I have copied the school counselor and the principal, Mr. Santola, on this email. Once my son realized that he had been elevated to the principal for his behavior, all of his homework has been turned in.
You sure you want this on YouTube?
Sure. I'm okay with that. So
you're a brave father.
I had nothing left in the toolbox. Yelling wasn't working. Taking away his phone wasn't working. I couldn't ground him. He's already grounded. We're all grounded.
Is he the introvert or is...
No, he's my extrovert.
The 16 is the...
Yeah. So
or the 18?
My 18-year-old is the introvert.
Okay.
My 16-year-old is pretty extroverted, but she's doing okay. And then my youngest is total extrovert, and he's struggling.
I saw this on the news that there was a 3rd grade child who learned how to videotape herself on a loop on Zoom or something.
Okay.
And they were taking classes in the 3rd grade. She made the computer do this loop.
So it looked like she was paying attention.
Looked like she was in the class and she was doing other stuff.
Brilliant.
And then the mom found out for some reason. I don't know. Maybe the 3rd grader was like bragging about, oh, Mom, look what I can do. And anyway, she doesn't do it anymore.
Busted.
So
I get it.
Yeah, so here we are. We're in line here at Dunkin's. America runs on Dunkin's.
Donkeys. We're just getting coffee?
Your choice. You got
donkey cards? Look at you.
Yeah, my wife, because because my wife is an essential person. The people where she works gave her Dunkin' cards.
Nice.
Not knowing that she's a Tim's Hortons person.
Really?
So she gives me the Dunkin' cards. She goes, why don't they know that I'm a Tim's person?
Is your wife Canadian?
No, she's not.
Interesting.
Which works for me. I'm not a coffee connoisseur anyway. I prefer McDonald's, actually.
I can't do McDonald's coffee. It's got a chalky... Like, I feel like there's a coating in my mouth after I drink McDonald's coffee.
Well, for $1, I can live with it, chalky. Let's just... Okay, a buck at McDonald's for a large coffee. Go in here. I'm going to see how much a coffee is. So here, a large coffee is $3.29. That's $2.29 that I could be putting in my retirement account if I get my coffee at McDonald's.
That's true. You'll also have that crappy chalky taste in your mouth.
Oh, we can't say that on YouTube.
Sorry.
Chalky taste. We're not allowed to say that. So.
Hi, welcome to Dunkin'. What can I get you?
I will take a medium coffee.
A medium hot coffee?
Yes.
With what in it?
5 cream and 1 Splenda.
5 cream and 1 Splenda. Does that complete your order?
No, the guy with me said he'd like to have a medium 2 and 2, whatever that means.
Medium hot coffee, yep, 2 and 2. 2 cream, 2 sugar.
That's it.
Okay, 508, pull around.
Thanks.
Hot coffee. It's coffee. Coffee only comes in hot. If I want it cold, I ask for cold special.
Well,
the default should be hot. Should not?
Put a camera in front of some people, they just go crazy.
Is that true? No, I'm serious. I would have said that if the camera was off.
Unless you're from New England. Then,
The default is cold?
I don't know if it's default, but it's big.
Interesting.
Iced coffee is huge in New England. So last week, I was doing something very spiritual. I was having I'm just going to turn this just a little bit. I don't know if I'm on there or not.
That's all right.
So last week I was doing something very spiritual. I was having a Bible study with people on Zoom.
So spiritual.
And it was Wednesday night.
Man of God you are.
We ran it from 7 to 8, thank you. From 7 to 8:15 or so. And I get done and I'm ready to wrap up. And as I get off, I said, well, let's just check Facebook here. And all of a sudden it says, your friend Rob is live. So I thought, Rob, being a pastor, he's doing something spiritual too. So I said, I wonder what he's doing online. He's probably like a really good pastor doing some kind of Bible expository teaching or something. And I click on him, and he's making sound effects, reading comic books on Facebook Live. Rob, tell us all about it.
So when this whole thing shut down, I decided that, so I'm a huge avid comic book enthusiast. I collect them, I read them. I started out collecting them with my sons and my kids, and everybody had a book that I collected for them that when they're older, that I will hand off their books to them. It's kind of like a...
Do they like comic books now?
Yeah, they do. When they were younger, we would read them together until it got to the point where they stopped being interested, but I was still reading them. And there were rules about who was allowed to read comic books and under supervision because of my slimy, dirty-fingered children putting their greasy mitts all over my pristine books. Their pristine books.
Everybody who's a collector of anything out there understands exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So my books are all bagged and boarded and in long boxes in a secure environment so that they are in good condition. Because we got some pretty valuable books. So when the shutdown happened, I reached out to my friend who runs the comic book shop in Greece and just said, hey, on Wednesdays, since Wednesday is the day that normally comic books come out, so every week there's a new books come out. But now that there are no comic books going out anywhere because there's a monopoly on distribution, and the company that does distribution said we're closed until further notice.
There's only one company that does it all?
One company, Diamond Distribution, has a monopoly on comic book distribution. They're breaking that monopoly now. DC is actually working with some smaller mini distributors, and DC books are actually coming back on the shelves. Even though stores are closed, you can get new DC books, but everybody else is out of luck until Diamond figures it out. And supposedly Diamond's coming back online May 20th, so this month they come back. Anyways, all of that being said, as I try not to spill coffee all over myself.
What might be some napkins in the glove?
I decided that I wanted to, on Wednesdays, read comic books because I was going to be missing my comic books that I wasn't getting every week. And so we picked a couple. I said, give me a DC book and a Marvel book that I can read online.
Who did you say that to?
To a good friend of mine who is a pastor.
You see the guy that owns the store?
So not the guy who owns the Rhino, my friend Mike, who owns 13th Verse.
We can't say Rhino on there unless he pays us.
Oh, no. We're not going to promote Rhino. Delete that.
Okay.
We will promote 13th Verse Comics. Mike Olbeck is a rock star and a good friend. Anyways, they helped me pick out a story run from DC called Future's End, which is an older story from back in the New 52 age, if you follow DC Comics at all. And it's about the end of the world, where the technology takes over, kind of like a Terminator kind of a storyline, and the Batman from the future, the Batman Beyond Batman version, gets sent back in time to correct or stop this coming apocalypse.
Okay, right now I sense all the comic viewers out there, our viewership is going up,
Yes.
and all the other people have just
Down,
clicked off.
lost. Who is this person, and why are they friends? Why is my pastor friends with this guy? And then the Marvel run is just straight up classic Iron Man.
Okay, so you've generated some interest in me. What is 13th verse? What is the significance of that? Is that spiritual, or is that something to do with comic books?
I have no idea. It's what my friend calls his comic book shop, 13th Verse Comics.
And where's that?
It is in the Street of Shops, where the co-op
Oh,
on Ridge Road.
okay, I've been in that place.
Yep. Yeah, so Mike is in on the far left-hand side, and he's just a great guy. I met him at my first Comicon here in Rochester. We went to RockCon.
Okay, I got to come back to that
Yeah.
part. But you said he's a pastor?
He's not no. So two different people. So my buddy who owns the comic book shop is an atheist, non-practicing Jewish Presbyterian.
Okay.
Who I love to pieces and just love hanging out and talking with him about life, the universe, and everything. And then
He's the 13th verse
he
guy.
owns 13th Verse.
Oh, okay.
And then my friend Michael, who's the pastor at a church in Hilton where I work, is probably more of a comic book nerd than I am,
Okay.
if it's possible. And so they helped me come up with the 2 books that we were going to read.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And then they donated the whole set of comics because they were books I didn't have. So between my pastor friend Michael and Michael, who owns the comic book shop, both named Michael,
Okay.
they hooked me up with this mountain of comics to read until the end of the world on Facebook Live on Wednesdays.
Speaking of end of the world, I was telling my wife probably last week we were going to BJ's on one of our essential trips out to buy something. But anyway, we're going there, and I told her, I said, this COVID-19 thing reminds me about 50% of all the sci-fi movies I've ever seen in my life.
Right?
I'm a sci-fi guy. But there's always something happens, catastrophic, affects the world. There's not that many people around. You know, of course, my mind went to zombies, which I know your
Yes.
mind goes there.
Yes. Just please let them be Walking Dead zombies and not World War Z zombies. Because I do not want my zombies to run faster than me. Because I am fat and out of shape. I need slow zombies.
So, I'm not a zombie guy, but I will ask this question. Can zombies exist in the cold?
It depends on your zombie mythology. So in World War Z, everybody moved up north to like the Arctic Circle in northern Canada to get away from the zombies because they froze.
Would make sense. Moving things freeze.
Correct. And so if their hearts aren't pumping and they're not circulating blood, if you drop below that freeze point, then they should freeze solid.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Although some zombie books that I have enjoyed in the past have come up with an alternative to that the virus actually does keep some body function going so that they don't freeze, and so you don't get that reprieve by going into the cold, that they still function in the cold.
Yeah, but I would think, being just human, we would freeze without proper attire,
Correct.
frostbite, and everything else, and that we would soon just freeze up.
Yeah.
I would think that would happen to
For most people.
things with less circulatory.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to get somewhere cold.
So anyway, I was just, like I said, sci-fi movies. I like good, well thought out, clean sci-fi. Zombie, not so much a zombie guy, only because there's so much violence and gore in it. But
Yeah.
some people can live with that. I really can't. So, but it is an interesting concept.
The viral infection.
The viral infection that affects people's brains, so they do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
They start eating. You know, we're not going to go into that. This is a G-rated thing. But
Sure.
I just heard awful thing on the news this morning. There was a security guard at a store who asked a woman to have her daughter put on a mask, and got into an argument. They left the store, and then her husband and son came back and shot the guy dead.
I saw that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is awful. So again, virus making people do stupid stuff,
right?
Is the theme there.
That is dumb.
Anyway, I'm on a road. I haven't been on this road probably 2 years. It's amazing how we get into our routines.
We're heading towards the zoo.
Yeah. So we're in Rochester. It's a beautiful place. Great time in the spring, although this doesn't feel like spring. Feels more like late winter.
Snow on Mother's Day. It can happen.
Going back to Comicon.
Yeah.
Do you get dressed up when you go to Comicon? Please say no.
I have a costume. I have never been brave enough to wear it. Because Batman should not be Fat Man. So I have a fully functional Batman costume that I am not svelte enough to carry off in public. Have you seen the picture of the Batman with it so overweight that his belly's sticking out? I'm not that bad, but it's not for public consumption. I put the Batman costume on. My kids were mortified. I walked them all to the bus as Batman.
This year?
No. When they were younger. This is a long time. I've had the costume for a few years. And I had finally gotten the final finishing touches on the utility belt, all like legit things in the utility belt, the boots, the armor, the cape, the cowl, everything. It's perfect. But I had not put it all together and walked outside. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm putting it on and I'm going for a walk. And so I just walked my neighborhood.
Have you got a video of this?
I think so. I'll have to dig it up somewhere. But like it was early evening, right? So it was after work. Sun was still in the sky, but it was casting long shadows. And as I'm walking around the neighborhood, like the breeze kind of came up, that 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock breeze. My cape is flowing behind me, casting this long Batman shadow ahead of me. And I'm going to tell you, I felt like a superhero. Like it was like, it was crazy.
Do you have a Batman voice?
I don't have a very good Batman voice.
Well, give us a sample.
It's not good. It's not good.
Cover your face like you got a mask on. Your eyes, I mean. There you go.
No, I don't. My Batman voice is not.
Okay.
It's terrible. I'm Batman. It's not good.
That wasn't bad.
It's not great. You can't. I don't know how those guys do it. Like for a whole movie. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Will Arnett is.
So that was my next question. So you think did Batman best in the movies?
Michael Keaton is my Batman.
He was the first one with the Joker, right?
He is the first and my only Batman.
Really?
I
thought he did good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I mean,
did well.
He's my. It's kind of like the Batman from your childhood, right? He was the first. I mean, Christopher Reeve was the first real successful superhero character, but I've never really been a huge Superman fan. So when they made the Batman movie in the 80s, and I was just like, this is my guy. Like, I love Batman. I like Batman because he doesn't have any superpowers. Yes, he's crazy rich and he buys all these kind of gadgets, but all of his powers through his own determination and grit and his personal discipline to be the best at what he is, and is able to hold his own with Superman.
He did a great movie that I remember watching back in the 80s.
Michael Keaton did?
Yes. And I don't remember much about it other than he was dying and he was videotaping himself, giving all types of life lessons on videotape.
My Life.
Is that what it was called?
I think it's called My Life.
Oh, man, did that rip my heart out.
Right.
And I was thinking, because I do a lot of stuff with video and stuff, but he just spent the whole movie just videotaping himself, giving advice to his future kid.
To his kid, yeah. Because his wife was pregnant, and he was going to be gone before the baby was born.
Maybe. I don't want to give it away, but yeah, I think he dies in the end. So anyway,
that's the way it goes.
We all die in the end. Ripped my heart out.
Yeah.
But I thought it was so well done as far as drawing a person into the story. And of course, I had a newborn baby at that point. Maybe that was what made it even more powerful.
Right, it hits home.
Didn't quite understand the whole roller coaster into the light thing, but it was a pretty good movie. My Life, you said?
I think it's called My Life. Something Life for sure. We can IMDb it.
Kind of puts it in perspective that this part of a life is not eternal. This is
oh man,
finite.
Stuck by a train. I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Michael Keaton's my Batman. There is George Clooney.
I was trying to segue to something spiritual for everyone out there.
I can give you something spiritual.
Batman?
No, never mind.
Anyway, do you remember a time, of course I'm sure you do, in the ministry, you've been in ministry how long? How many years?
A long time.
Any form, that's all. Just
20, 30 years, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm coming up on 36, 37.
Yeah.
Anyway, back in the 80s, as a pastor...
I wasn't a pastor in the 80s.
Oh, okay. Well, I was a youth pastor.
Okay.
Assistant pastor.
I was a youth.
And I don't know if you felt this or not, but there was always somebody in the church that was judging you. Do you remember those times?
Yes.
There's always somebody, a very, very, I don't want to say self-righteous individual, but there was always somebody that was judging you, your family, your kids. And if you're not in the ministry, you don't really know what that feels like, but you're talking about that Batman movie. I remember I was taking a trip somewhere with my wife, and when we got about 3 hours away, I said, let's go to the movies. And we went to see that Batman movie.
It's a good choice.
Because I didn't feel like I had the
You couldn't do it in your hometown.
I couldn't do it in my hometown.
Come
Somebody
on.
might see me.
Yeah.
Go to that movie.
Right. Well, you're talking about the judgy thing. At our church, when we talk about membership at our church, we give a token of membership that kind of is a symbol of the journey that we're on together at LifeQuest. And so what we do when someone chooses to become a member, if they've gone through the membership class and they've committed to the membership covenant that we have, on Membership Sunday, we give them a walking stick. That's their token of membership, because we're in this together. We're in this journey together. Your life, the Message version in 1 Peter says that your life is a journey that you must travel with a deep consciousness of God. And so that's kind of been our theme for our church. But that's a response from when I was a kid, that our membership, when you became a member at our church,
that's the actual name of it, our church.
Our church.
We call our church my church.
Yes.
So when people say, where are you going? I say, I'm going to my church.
My church, exactly.
So when I go to your church, I say, I'm going to our church.
You're going to our church.
Yeah.
But you actually got a card that said that you were a member of good standing at our church. And on the back, it listed all the things that we were opposed to.
Really?
Because we don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't chew, we don't run with those that do, we don't dance, we don't go to the movies, we don't play cards.
We don't? We don't play cards?
No, not then we didn't.
Oh, okay.
And we defined our flavor of Christianity by all the things that we were against.
I mean, I can understand not playing cards for betting purposes,
but we were allowed to play Rook, because Rook wasn't cards.
Really? I don't even know what Rook is.
Yeah, it's Christian.
It's like Crazy Eights or something?
Christian cards. Yeah, and so that's something that kind of just stuck.
Right now, I feel people are judging us. Well, go ahead.
That's okay. Judge away. That's not how I was going to live my life, and when it was my turn to say this is what we want our church to look like. It's not going to look like that.
Right now, there's going to be a disclaimer on the bottom of the screen. that the views and opinions of our guests are not necessarily those of a host.
Why? Because you have a card carrying, your church has a card that says we don't do all these things and this is a requirement for membership?
No.
I mean, now we are not for those things, but that's not how we're going to define it and say,
Correct.
Right. I'm not espousing a license to just do whatever you want. There are standards, but it was,
Same principle. I'm going to take it back about 40 or 50 years ago. I served with a pastor one time. He was an older minister. He was not on staff at the church, but he had been a previous pastor. And when he retired, he continued to stay on in that area and continued coming to the church. He told of a time where his wife was... This was back in the early Pentecostal days where you didn't have Christmas trees in your house.
Right.
You didn't do anything like that whatsoever. Right. But anyway, his wife, as a pastor's wife, said, I am going to put up a Christmas tree this year. I don't care who in the church thinks what. I'm going to put up a Christmas tree.
Right.
And she had just finished putting the Christmas tree up, and Sister So-and-so, whoever that was, came to the door knocking. And this is back in West Virginia, probably back in the 40s or 50s. And knocking on the door, and she gets so flustered, she says she grabbed the Christmas tree, opened the basement door, and threw the whole thing down in the basement.
After all that work?
Yes.
Just to make that Sister So-and-so didn't get her...
But it just shows you how much... I mean, this will speak to us on many different levels. Number one, how powerful being judgmental can be to hold people in bondage, but also how people are in bondage to what other people think.
Right.
And then also on the spiritual side, where that we shouldn't just do things just to offend people. Of course, that wasn't her motivation, but she didn't care how other people felt about it, but evidently she did.
Yeah.
So
it's tough.
Yeah. So anyway,
I would have put the Christmas tree in the front. See, but I am not borderline. I have antisocial tendencies, so I would have taken the Christmas tree and put it in the front window.
But now we don't have a problem with Christmas trees.
Right.
I doubt if there's anybody. Well, there's probably people out there that could be watching this that remember those days about Christmas trees. Unlikely that they're watching this video this long, especially once we got the zombies. They probably zoned out.
Or our viewership just skyrocketed. And Patrick's in cars talking about zombies.
There we go.
That's something I would watch.
You watch. We're gonna have like 20 views. They're all gonna be you. Hey, I look pretty good on there.
I don't look too bad. What a schmuck.
Hey, my Batman wasn't that bad.
I'm Batman.
So, the driving purpose that started this for me, Pastors in Cars, was I just happened to be driving with a pastor one time, and I just thought, hey, I got a camera, let's have some conversation. And I thought it would be interesting, some people would find it enjoyable to watch. So we started a trend, if 3 videos is a trend. This will be our 3rd episode.
Hey, that's awesome. 3rd time's a charm.
And it was kind of funny, out of all the videos I put up on our church YouTube channel, that first one got the most views out of any sermon, out of any teaching, out of anything else that was ever put up there. I don't know if that's still true, but that was funny. Then when we did the 2nd episode with him, I think that became easily the most viewed one. And so who knows, maybe this one will go most viewed. So anyway,
no promises.
It is COVID-19 right now. We established it earlier, hours ago when we started this. Right now we're halfway to Buffalo. But we established this is Wednesday, May 6th. It's COVID-19 going on. I just want to say we are following the guidelines.
We have masks.
Not here, not right now at this moment, but don't send us hate mail, email, whatever else. We are maintaining 6-foot distance out in public.
Except for now. But we both...
Oh, no, in public, though.
Oh, in public.
I just want to say this. We are following these guidelines. We are supportive of these guidelines. I think there's wisdom in these guidelines. But it's now 5 or 6 weeks into this, and Rob is the first friend that I've invited, actually first person I've invited over to the house. Friend or foe. So...
And fed me.
Yeah.
Like awesome beef stew.
Fed him some stuff.
It's been good.
And it's just that, my wife comes home from work. She doesn't have a mask on. I don't put one on to talk to her. And as long as Rob's been being careful on his end, not being careful on mine, I don't mind being in the car alone with him without our mask on.
Well,
My
so
rant.
question. When this relaxes and we re-enter back into semi-normal and we're able to have public worship, a friend of mine I was just talking to who pastors in our community, they're not going to have any public singing because some study said that singing produces more moisture molecules being projected out than just simply talking. And so for the foreseeable future, they will have music, but no corporate singing. What do you think about that?
I think they should just wear a mask.
Right?
That's my opinion.
Wear a mask during the singing portion and then then take the mask off?
No, when we go back, we'll be wearing masks for a while, probably.
Yeah.
6 feet apart, wear a mask. Don't assume anybody else wants to hug you or be hugged by you. You got to respect people's space and also respect their conscience.
Right.
Some people are going to be all right with shaking hands, but you can't assume that the person you're shaking hands with or wanting to is okay with it.
As a non-hugger, I gotta say I'm pretty excited about that.
I've never been a hugger either.
Yeah, no thanks. So, why did you buy the camera?
This camera?
Yeah.
I bought this because I was doing Uber and Lyft. And I did not want to get in a car and transport people I did not know without some type of accountability.
Is that a requirement for Uber and Lyft, or is that just your personal?
Not when I got into it.
Is it now?
I doubt that it is.
But it's smart.
Yeah, and I spent a pretty good chunk of change on this one because I wanted it to record in HD. And it's infrared at night, so this records the inside of the car with infrared.
How cool.
So yeah, it was a little bit more expensive than other ones out there, but I think
whenever the car is on, it's on.
Yes. And I put little stickers on the windows. Did you notice?
The Lyft and Uber stickers?
No, on the back doors it says that this car is under video surveillance or something like that. By entering, you're consenting to having your image videotaped or whatever.
Look at that.
Something like that.
That's cool. So now in this whole COVID-19 thing, how many Lyft or Uber runs have you made?
Honestly, I have not done Lyft or Uber since last July. So I got very busy, very, very, very busy. I had no time to do it. I just did my taxes, and last year I made $200 between Uber and Lyft. So it was not a side job. It was something I did for
fun little hobby. So it was an excuse to buy a really cool camera.
The first year I did much more Lyft than Uber. I got the new car. It was 2018. I thought, hey, this would be really cool. And I had some extra time, a little bit more discretionary time back then than I have in the past year and a half before COVID hit. And I just said, hey, let's do it. So I spent a few $100s on some supplies and resources. Drove. I made more money that year, obviously, than last year. But that's the story.
Got it.
And there are sometimes I picked up some crazy people, or crazy looking people.
Yeah.
That I was glad I had the camera, but because there's so much shiftiness and craziness out there, when I do Lyft and Uber, I don't do it after dark.
Okay.
Even though that's when they make the most money, because that's when the people are using it mostly.
Right.
But
now,
yeah,
how were your reviews when you were lifting and Ubering?
5 stars all the time.
Okay.
Until one time, I picked up a guy who was reeking of marijuana. Oh, it was awful. I've never smelled anything so strong and so badly in my entire life. I had to put the windows down. I only took him like 2 miles. But anyway, and that was my last one for the night. I said, that's it. No more. It was dark. And just as I let him out, it just beeped in. Beep, beep. Bling or whatever it is. Hey, you got another ride. You want to take this? And I'm like, should I or shouldn't I? So I took it, and the whole way there to pick this last guy up, I had the windows down and everything.
Oh, so you didn't smell like...
Yeah, so I didn't smell like whatever the guy had in the car.
Yeah.
So I picked up these two folks, and I was taking them to wherever they were going, and that guy gave me a 1 star. The last guy. He gave me a 1 star and reported me to Uber, thinking that I was driving under the influence of drugs because the car smelled so bad.
The guy you picked up after the drug
Yes.
guy. Oh, yeah.
And I got suspended for 48 hours. I was not allowed to take any, pick up any rides or anything, turn on my app for 48 hours until they did an investigation.
Come on.
And that guy gave me the 1 star, and that brought my rating down to 4.98 or something like that. And you can never get that back up to 5 stars.
Right, it's gone forever.
I mean, I'm sure there's a way you can eventually. I think they take the last 500 rides.
So how did they investigate that?
They must have contacted all the previous rides I did that evening. I was upset
Sure.
because not even a chance to defend myself. And I had the camera, and I even told Uber. I said, and back then I don't know how Uber's customer service is right now for employers or for drivers, but back then they were not good. They were not good support at all for Uber drivers.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm sure there's 1,000 other Ubers out there that can tell the same thing.
Right.
So I called them up. I said, I have a dash cam with recording with all that stuff. I got proof. They didn't even want to see it. No, we're conducting our own investigation.
Okay.
I said, here, I got proof right here. It's on the entire time I'm in the car driving.
Time-stamped and everything.
Absolutely. GPS, everything. So
Sorry, that was
back
a
to
digression.
the purpose. See, this is how preachers operate. Their mind just goes down a trail, and then they get back on track eventually. Hopefully.
It's a good thing you didn't tell me we were doing this, because I would have come prepared with material. You're getting it all off the cuff.
So,
I would have brought notes.
just have an interesting conversation. No tremendous, great, redeeming value. However, I do believe in doing things with a redemptive purpose. And whatsoever your hands find to do it as heartily unto the Lord. And whatsoever you do in life, do the same and do it as unto the Lord. So, we do want some redemptive stuff in this, not to justify doing it, because we can do things just for fun.
That is true.
And as I was saying, Rob is the first person I've had over at my house during this whole COVID-19 thing. And so whoever's out there judging us because we got together without our masks,
Oh, no.
I don't care.
Well,
Go tell someone else.
yeah.
Sorry, that was my rant.
We'll edit that out.
Maybe not. So, Rob,
Jeff.
I don't want to turn this into
A Laurel and Hardy sketch?
no. I don't want to turn it into something that it's not.
Okay.
A serious time.
No, we don't. No.
But your thoughts for Christians during COVID-19?
I think that this whole season has been a tremendous opportunity for Christians that we've not had in a long time, especially for churches. That the whole idea that churches closed couldn't be further from the truth, because church isn't a building, and that we have been mobilized to use our social networking platforms both as individuals and as churches, and that we have been proclaiming the gospel harder and stronger and clearer than we have ever done.
That is true.
Ever.
I love that part.
So that's awesome. I'm excited about the potential to fix broken things that we have just gotten accustomed to doing things broken, or, for lack of a better word, shabby, because that's the way we've always done it. That now we have an opportunity to say, look, if we're going to go back, what could our new normal look like? And do we have to do it the way we did it before, or could we do things in new ways? I'm really excited about that. That it doesn't have to go back. to the way it was. There are things that we've learned through this that we can do better.
Amen.
I think. Go ahead.
Well, I think our structures limited us, and our religious structures, as good as for whatever they were for, they were good for that, but they hindered us in so many different ways. So we weren't getting outside the walls of the church.
Right.
And I saw this phrase, and I don't know where I saw it, but it said the church has left the building, and I just thought of that.
Love that.
Like Elvis has left the church has left the building.
Finally. Right?
Yes.
It's kind of like the new diaspora that
Yes,
God
I was thinking the same thing.
He's kicking us out. Get out there. Go out there and be the church, for crying out loud.
You know, Jesus told the disciples, you're going to receive power and receive the Holy Spirit, and you're going to be my witnesses, right? In Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the uttermost parts of the earth.
Pentecost Sunday's coming.
And then years later, they were still in Jerusalem for the most part.
Right.
And then persecution kicked up, and the born-again Christians scattered. They went everywhere. And it was like a motivating or a catalyst to get people out. And I think that's one of the things God is doing through this, is that his people have been, we as his people have been in our structure for so long, our structures, physical and mental and whatever else, that we needed a push. And this maybe is the push we need.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
It's good.
What else you got? Is that redemptive enough?
I think so. It's Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Rob Dickerson. Follow me on Facebook Live. Come listen to new issues of Future's End and Iron Man. Actually, tonight is the last issue of the Iron Man Extremist Run, 6 of 6.
And
so,
if you'd like to do something more spiritual, I have a study on Acts chapter 2 tonight at 7.
Awesome. Watch him and then watch me.
In order to get into our group, it's a private Bible study group. That doesn't mean it's shut off from the world. It's just that we didn't want weird people out there kicking tires, coming, stirring up strife for us. We wanted people that are serious about studying the Bible.
Mine is wide open. All weirdos welcome.
So you go to Glad Tidings Church, Rock, New York, ROC, and you go to our groups and you just ask to join the Bible study group. We let you in. And inside there is a link to our Zoom Bible study. So again, it's not
Unless
shut
you're
off.
a weirdo, and then he won't let you in.
We check out your posts and stuff, but we realize this is about people that want to learn God's Word, and if that's you, we'll let you in.
Awesome.
And then you can go read comic books with Pastor Rob. Well, you're not Pastor Rob at that point, are you?
I'm always Pastor Rob.
Okay, but I didn't.
I'm just Rob. It's comic books with Rob, not Pastor
Comic
Rob.
books. You need something that's more illiterate, like an alliteration,
Okay.
not illiterate.
I can read.
There's nothing more illiterate than comic books sometimes.
Come on now. Comic
talking
books are
about-
a great source of literature.
No, when you were opening up to those pages, there were no words on them.
For certain runs, yeah.
And you were making up the story. I thought that was brilliant.
It was, well, you gotta make it fun.
I could do that. So anyway, thank you so much.
No worries.
See
Thanks
you-
for having me.
See you on the flip side.